it seemed like his major issue was with Kyle Shanahan, and that was interesting because, like, is your issue with Jed York, Parag Marate? What is your problem really? Who offended you most? And I think it was Kyle. So we're gonna talk about that in a second. Hog20 says, sounds like Kyle Shanahan got up in BA's face and chewed him out in front of others, and that's what killed the relationship. Okay. It does feel like Brandon Aiyuk's main issue is with Kyle Shanahan. And I didn't know that. I felt like they may have had a slightly functional, if not toxic, a business relationship, considering Kyle's the one who scouted him, drafted him, featured him eventually, and then got him paid. So, I mean, he blocked a trade to keep Brandon Aiyuk. So I've always felt that maybe they had a relationship, but just because Kyle values you as a player doesn't mean that he necessarily likes you or treats you with respect. Now, I don't know what Kyle's like behind closed doors, but we have heard from many players that Kyle keeps it real and he can be brutal with what he says. His wife told him to try to be a little bit more positive to balance out the scathing critiques with some praise as well, and he's trying, or so he said. But he has a very particular style of coaching. It's a throwback style. It's like his dad. New age coaches are very upbeat and energetic and dealing in positive reinforcement. Kyle is big time negative reinforcement guy, like Bill Belichick, like the coaches in the 90s, like Marty Schottenheimer. Not as loud, but maybe as rude privately. So when we wonder, like, why was Brandon Aiyuk in the doghouse in 2021 and Kyle Shanahan never explained it? Like, what is the issue here? Oh, well, Aiyuk says that Kyle has the temperament of a toddler. Such a specific thing for Aiyuk to say too. Not like Kyle's a jerk. Kyle's didn't call him a name. He said he has the temperament of a toddler. First of all, alliteration. It sounds good. Temperament of a toddler. It just rolls right off the tongue. I bet he's been talking about this and workshopping it with his wife and his parents and people around him. I mean, do you think he came up with that on his own? If so, he's poetic, lyrical. Where did that come from? Temperament of a toddler. Because a lot of people would say that Brandon Aiyuk has a temperament of a toddler. I wouldn't say toddler. I would say teenager. Also alliteration. I'm pretty good too. Temperament of a teenager. So this is something he thinks about, even though he may not have much self-awareness. And how I'd love to know, Brandon, what do you think your temperament is? Fair question. You're almost 30 years old. What age range would you put your temperament in? Because if he could like actually present himself a little bit, as his age, he would go so far. But another thing that's kind of intriguing, extremely intriguing about Brandon Aiyuk is that he doesn't care. He's willing to throw everything away because of his principles, sanity, happiness. I mean, maybe Niner fans don't look at it that way, but it seems to me that Kyle Shanahan has been able to talk, say some really rude things to NFL players behind closed doors for a long time, and they don't say anything about it because he has incredible PR and a ton of media people who defend him. Like if RG3 ever came out and said anything critical about Kyle Shanahan from their time together, people would just destroy RG3. Here are my prize picks for the 49ers 2026 season. Brock Purdy, 25.5 passing touchdowns, more or less. I'm going to say less. Christian McCaffrey, 974.5 rushing yards, more or less. I'm going to say less. Mike Evans, 924.5 receiving yards, more or less. That's a tough one. I'm going with less. Go to Prize Picks, use promo code HMA, play $5 and get 50 instantly in lineups. Again, that's code HMA. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. People will defend Kyle Shanahan to the death. So I think anyone who has an issue with Kyle just kind of keeps it to themselves. And I think there's been a lot of players who've had issues with the way he talks to them. Donovan McNabb, originally 15 years ago. A lot of guys. Roddy White. But they never would say anything. And he would have a lot of people that would vouch for him who are friends with him. The Deebo Samuels of the world. Um, and it seemed like Kyle feels that he can blow up, he can get mad, he can be emotionally dysregulated like any player, and they'll get over it. And then maybe he'll calm down and they'll work it out afterward. But it seems like Ayuk isn't that kind of guy. Maybe Debo is, maybe Trent is, maybe Kittle is. Because for whatever reason, I just don't think Ayuk is. And a truly great coach doesn't coach everyone the same way. If Ayuk is this important to you that you would pay him this much money, maybe there's a different way to coach him than everyone else. Maybe he's really sensitive. That's what I see with Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon Aiyuk is a very sensitive person. Maybe that would piss him off, but it's true. I'm a very sensitive person, and I feel like extremely sensitive people don't really thrive on like constant negative feedback. I mean, maybe he did thrive in a sense of like, I'm going to play this well to prove you wrong because I hate you. Maybe that's why it worked. And maybe when he finally got paid, he didn't have to keep, striving to impress Kyle anymore. But if you think about Brandon Aiyuk, why he's different than all the other people that have fallen in line with this team, he didn't. I feel like he's been this way forever, and he's been reinforced to stay this way. So why did he go to junior college? Probably because he's like this. I mean, he hasn't even filed for reinstatement. You think he did his homework in high school? Maybe. I don't know. So he didn't play by the rules in high school. He probably didn't get good grades. He probably got in trouble. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure George Kittle and Debo Samuel and Trent Williams were doing everything right to get the best possible scholarships to the best possible programs. Brandon went to Sierra College, even though he was a first round pick. Soon to be first round. He had to go to Sierra College in Rockland, California, because he couldn't get his stuff together. And instead of that humbling him, he just doubled down. And he played so freaking well at Sierra College that he got a scholarship to Arizona State, which is a solid school. And he didn't have to bend the knee. He didn't have to do anything. He didn't have to change. They just let him be. Herm Edwards let him be himself. And he was so freaking good at Arizona State his final year that the Niners traded up to get him in round 1. So what he learned was, hey man, people had a problem with me in high school. People think I wasn't, BA this and BA that, and you're not ready for a scholarship. Well, guess what? I did it my way. I got myself to Arizona State. I got myself a first round pick. Debo wasn't a first round pick. Debo didn't get the first year, the 5th year option. I did. I didn't kiss anyone's ass to get it either. So that now he's in the NFL. Now he's starting as a rookie. He's balling as a rookie. He comes back second year. He says something to Kyle. He looks at him the wrong way. Kyle starts talking crazy to him, as he does to everyone eventually. And Ayuk's never taken this before. This is the kind of things that freshmen deal with at the University of Iowa or South Carolina. Ayuk never had to do this. Do you think he had to? You think someone talked to him like this at Sierra College? No. So the first time he's ever really talked to like that in his football life is his second year in the NFL, and he's not equipped for it. And Kyle should have known that. You didn't need to go there. This is a guy who's extremely motivated. He willed himself into the NFL. Kid grew up in Reno. So they've had a personal issue with each other for years. That's the problem. They've had a personal issue with each other for years. And not only did Brandon Aiyuk never bend a knee, in high school and college, he clearly has been going head to head with Kyle Shanahan for years and still got paid. They reinforce all this behavior. And then they try to tell him to change his shorts. You reinforced the behavior because he's good and you have to have him on the field when he's healthy. And then he got hurt and you're like, we don't need him anymore. If Brandon Aiyuk, that's the thing. If people talk about his comportment, his behavior, if he had never gotten injured, he'd be on the team right now if he wanted to be. The Niners would be dealing with it. It's not that his personality is a deal breaker. It's that they stopped they lost patience after he got hurt because they're banking on him not making a full recovery. But if he does make a full recovery, then they're wrong. And again, you watch these videos, does he come across as a guy who's like should be on medication? A guy who is gonna be like, is gonna hurt someone, gonna beat someone up? I don't think so. He comes across as a guy who can't regulate his emotions, which is very teenage, very 14, 15. Um, but a guy who is not crazy, he's angry. A guy who's immature and angry and lashing out. At $1 billion corporation. Does it even you, the Niner fan, isn't part of you like, wow, that's bold strategy, man? Like, I'm not even mad at you. Like, you're not gonna play for us ever again. They're taking your money back. I mean, I'm not rooting for you. I already burned my Ayuk jersey, but I am kind of interested. I mean, I don't see why Niner fans are so upset with Brandon Aiyuk. His issue isn't with you. It's with Kyle Shanahan. And again, is Brandon the first person to feel this way, or is he the first person to say it so loudly? Did Charvarius Ward feel this way? Did Jimmy Ward feel this way? Did Trey Lance feel this way? Did Eric Armstead feel this way? Did Dre Greenlaw feel this way last year? Did Dante Pettis feel this way? Did Devondre Campbell feel this way? Did Jerick McKinnon feel this way? Remember him? Anyway, who was it? The guy that talked about the roster politics? Sneed. He felt this way. Anyway, it just feels like no one's ever been this bold to talk about Kyle like this before. He didn't say his name because Kyle is the golden boy in the NFL. The only guy with better press than him is Sean McVay. And I don't know. I just don't think Kyle wants this. I just feel like Ayuk has more he could say. And this reminds me of, remember a few years ago when Zion Williamson had that affair with that adult star, Mariah Mills? And Mariah Mills just kept posting stuff every day about Zion Williamson. And it didn't help Mariah Mills' career. It didn't make her look good, but it definitely didn't make Zion Williamson look good. And at a certain point, I think the Niners would be like, I want this to stop now. This sucks. Can we get this to stop? Yeah, you can get this. Just cut him. You can get this to stop. I don't think this makes anyone. Of course, it makes Ayuk look good, but what's interesting about it is it's like a kamikaze mission. He's taking them down with him.